The Golden Knights prevail on banner-raising night at T-Mobile Arena last night as they defeat Seattle 4-1. We recap the game right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome aboard. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that is Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you by Jase Medical and the Jase Case. You can get $20 off of a life-saving antibiotic case called the Jase Case. Go today. You can use it. It's great for your medical use. Go and use the code Locked On Golden Knights at checkout. Again, that is Locked On at jasemedical.com. Chris, you were there last night, T-Mobile Arena, all the fanfare, all the festivities, and you caught the Cup Championship banner-raising night there. Really spectacular there. Just tell us, let's first start off with the festivities, how everything ran, and what really caught your attention there.
There was a buzz, right? That was just the first thing that really caught me. You immediately had the feeling of the playoffs and, of course, the Stanley Cup final. That was just the first thing that I felt as everyone was outside in front of T-Mobile, and you had the gold carpet arrivals and obviously the players all decked out. Paul Cotter doing his best Vegas mobster impression, and it was a lot of fun watching the players interact with the fans. And that was really the fans' first moment to, get in with the players since the Stanley Cup victory. And the cool thing there, of course, most of them are wearing their rings and everything. And that obviously was a pretty crazy sight to see. I mean, those rings, you could spot those from across the street. That was really, really, really cool getting to see the players wearing the rings. Going back, obviously, like I said, the arena, there was a buzz. It just felt good. It was much different, obviously, than the preseason, rightfully so. You get to the banner parts and the video starts, and it just all the emotions start, right? All the excitement, all the fun, nervous energy you had from the playoffs and everything. And then here comes a slot machine. Like, this is Vegas. I mean, this is everything. The ceremony was tacky enough, and I mean that in the Vegas tacky way. It was tacky enough where it did Vegas well, but the tackiness was not a distraction. And obviously, the moment the banner came out of the slot machine, it felt good watching it and just watching the players embrace one another. Alec Martinez was actually on the ice for the banner raising, which was obviously good to see too.
Yeah, and after the game, you were in the locker room and you got some reaction from the players. How do they keep their focus last night with all of the hoopla going on?
Adin Hill parlayed, not double down, but parlayed, that's how we say it in Vegas, on what he told me on Friday. He felt that it wasn't very difficult to separate the moment of, okay, here's our banner, here's my moment with the team and everything there. And then once the puck dropped, it was back to work. Jack Eichel felt it was a little more difficult to kind of separate the two. And Mark Stone summarized it by saying he didn't think the Golden Knights had really a very good game overall. They had some good moments. They really took control in the second period. But Stone didn't feel it was a very strong game. And whether he directly attributed that to the banner raising and the distractions of the last 3 days or so, he didn't directly say it, but that's how he answered the question when I presented it. So, it was a gritty win in considering the circumstances. Seattle had a 5-minute window to get the game going and control it, and Vegas managed it. And really, Vegas was the better team for 55 minutes of the game.
Yeah, Mr. Stanley Cup, I think, was just frustrated because he was on the doorstep at least twice, and he had high danger chances, and he couldn't capitalize. First period, VGK, you had a couple of goals there early. You had the Stevenson goal, and then VGK came back, and Marchessault, they led 2-0 after one. And then Ivan Barbashev, my guy, scored the third goal of the night.
He
Jared
crushed
McCann,
Matty Beniers. He crushed Matty Beniers.
he smashed him pretty good.
He
He's
wallpapered
an
him.
animal. He's an absolute animal. I mean, he's become my favorite player just because of all the gritty work. And then Eichel's number 2, and then the guy who hits the empty net once every game is probably my third. But it was kind of funny because Jared McCann had the goal, and then VGK comes back and they counter with the empty netter at the end of the game by Jack Eichel. It was just kind of funny because Cassidy said at the start of the game, he said, he had no idea how VGK was going to come out with all the distractions and everything. He said, this is easily going to be a 3-0 game. This is the prognosticator. It'll be a 3-0 game. I don't know if VGK, if my team is going to be ahead or Seattle, but that's how the game's going to start off. And lo and behold, it was 3-0. And VGK pretty much in control the entire way.
Yeah, back to Barbashev. We had a fun exchange with Cassidy. Chris Chapman asked him basically about Barbashev, and he used the term he wallpapered Matty Beniers, and that caught Cassidy by surprise. It's a term he had never.
Did he sway some?
No. It was just a fun, lighthearted moment. So Cassidy was basically saying, do people still use wallpaper in their houses? And then Chris Chapman blamed Gary Lawless because Gary Lawless is the one who says it all the time. And even Nate Elwell got into the mix as he was taking the next question and threw a little dig at Cassidy about the wallpaper. So it was fun. Everyone was in really good spirits last night. Mark Stone's back is okay, Tony. Mark Stone's back is okay. I asked him how his back was holding up. Carrying the Stanley Cup around a lot and got a little chuckle, but the response was pretty quick. Had 2
really
surgeries.
Quick.
Back's fine. So it razzed him a little bit. I was looking for it was a fun exchange. It was, and Stone he's got that gear where if he doesn't like something, he'll give it to you. And he didn't like it. He took a shot and he buzzed one. He buzzed one. I
thought he liked the question. He was good. He was frustrated because again, he just missed 2 goals. The one he just hit into Grubauer's pad.
Hell, he was frustrated.
And then he missed an open net and just hit it wide to the right.
Yeah, you're talking. It was almost like he was on the doorstep for the first goal of the Stanley Cup final last year, the shorthanded one, where basically he just stopped and had the whole right side of the net, very similar. And then the other one, he just couldn't elevate over Grubauer's pad from in tight.
Yeah. VGK, areas they need to clean up. Well, penalties, I think that's important. 11 total minutes in the game last night. And a nasty hit by Brett Howden on Tanev last night that was pretty much uncalled for. That caused a major for VGK.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a big game in Vegas if there wasn't a major involved. It seems to be, But the important thing is he got a match. So a match is going to be immediately reviewed for potential suspension. So, there's an interesting story developing now because Carrier out with an upper body. Cassidy was asked about that in the post game, and Cassidy, you're not going to get a whole lot out of Cassidy about injuries, but usually, this is Cassidy's quote, usually when someone leaves and doesn't come back, it could be pretty serious. Okay. So you're talking a hand, an arm situation, something like that.
He'll be in a sling, probably.
Possibly. Will he be in the Alec Martinez sling or the Zach Whitecloud cast?
No, he'll have the Martinez sling when Martinez is done using it. So now who's going to take Carrier's spot? I'm sorry.
Well, we got to chop this into two separate questions right now. Thursday against the San Jose Sharks and possibly Saturday against the Anaheim Ducks, depending on what the league does, if anything.
Such a rigged schedule. What a rigged schedule this is.
It's not the Golden Knights' fault that the Pacific is Charmin, at least the bottom 4 teams. Not the top 4.
It's
the
so
bottom
rigged.
4 teams are Charmin.
It's rigged again. Here we go.
Tony, knock it off.
PK Subban was right. They're going to win it again. He didn't say because the schedule's rigged, but he did say they're going to.
All right, so if Brett Howden is out, what happens? if Will Carrier is out, what happens? Well, you have to look at the roster right now. Demick is on the Golden Knights
Why
roster.
is he on the roster? What is Demick doing on the roster?
Don't know. I gotta think the plan is they might have to keep him on the roster for a certain period of time. Then they can, because he's on a 2-way on the ELC entry level contract. They could probably send him down. But is Brendan Brisson going to get his number called right away? Like, is there a chance that possibly happens? But the only way this could happen, as far as the way the roster goes, first of all, is if White Cloud goes to LTIR, because the Golden Knights literally at this moment have zero to work with. $0. They have a perfect salary, or a perfect total salary cap when you factor the LTIR situation. So who replaces Howden directly? And the answer is Dorofeev. Dorofeev would probably get the first call on that spot. Cotter could potentially get elevated, but that line was really, really good with Stone and Stevenson. Their chemistry was on display the entire game. Yeah, that was the best line early, and then the third line got ticking. All the lines got ticking, in the second period. But the second line, Stone and Stevenson in particular, were carrying the mail last night before Barbashev started doing his thing. So I would think you do a direct replacement. It would be Howden out, Dorofeev in. Line 4 winger. This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah,
because
that's gonna be interesting.
If Carey is going to be out, I don't think Demick is going to wind up drawing to the game. I don't see that.
Why
happening.
would he be on the? I'm just so confused here. He wasn't like
it's Golden. Listen, it's cap roulette. It's Vegas.
Yeah,
it's cap
it
roulette.
Is.
They know what they're doing when it comes to that. So the other option is you drop Paul Cotter to the fourth line for a game or two.
Yeah, Demick
and
now.
Then Brisson can go up on the second line.
One game
with
for
Stone
Demick
and Stevenson.
One game for Demick. His name will be on the cup.
Great, good for him. That's awesome. I hope someone's that lucky.
So Jonathan Marchessault had the goal that Tanev actually put in. He was just trying.
That was so weird to watch that replay.
It was very strange because he tried to wrap it around the net there, and then Marchessault gives it back. So it was kind of funny on the McCann goal.
Just strange luck and bounces there.
Yeah. Now we have to get to Maxime Comtois. This is a guy, again, just reading body language and listening to what Bruce Cassidy had to say about him during camp and the days leading up to the start of the season. He didn't like this player. They said, we're going to give you this guy, Comtois. Okay, great. He didn't like him. I'm convinced he just had no use for him. And again, what he said about Maxime Comtois really turned out.
Hopefully Comtois still in Vegas. They might sign him now. They might need him.
Isn't that funny though? What about your boy Phil Kessel? They might need him.
You never know. Kessel, last I heard, was still hanging out here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Comtois. We were talking last night up in the box, talking actually to Carp and Marsh about it, and
that's a trio.
Oh, I think we're gonna be by each other all season. It's great. But it's Comtois. I keep going back to this. I have to think that there was a role in mind for him. Of course, you have to see him on the ice, and he has to perform, and he has to give you the want and desire to join the Stanley Cup, the reigning Stanley Cup champions, and seize the moment, seize the opportunity. And he failed. He failed to do that, and I really thought that was on display. I believe Comtois was in the game when Stone, got throttled basically. And what a moment for Comtois just to challenge somebody and drop the gloves in a preseason game when your captain gets run. He got ran, call it what it is. And, that would have been his moment right there. Cassidy notices stuff like this. Comtois, unfortunately, now we're starting to learn, he's got all the upside in the world, it seems, but it just doesn't seem. Cassidy couldn't find a role for him. Cassidy never really gave him any type of encouragement when asked about him. Oh, well, he doesn't have a contract.
We haven't seen enough of him.
But give us so yeah, Comtois, we'll see if he catches on, and you might have to take a 2-way deal or go play with a team that's not necessarily his first, second, third, or fourth choice, or maybe the dude will wind up in Switzerland playing. Who knows? Who knows?
Coming up next, Chris, your observations on Cassidy's system, which was working just fine. Thank you. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. The NHL season, it's finally here. Will the Vegas Golden Knights reign supreme again? Will we see that stinking slot machine come out again next year at this time? We love the NHL, and we know that you do too. And that is why we want to tell you about Sleeper. Sleeper is our go-to platform for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. With Sleeper, you have the chance to win 100 times your cash on daily fantasy. That's right. And the NHL has never been more exciting than we know it now. They have a lot of star players, a lot of star power, from Eichel to McDavid, Ovechkin, Crosby, and Makar. Simply select more or less based on their stats, such as goals, such as assists, and then points, saves, etc., and much, much more. Yes, you heard us, VGK fans. Sleeper offers 100 times the payouts. And to start paying attention, you just have to get into the game, make the right picks, and you could win big. That's right. Again, entries can be under 30 seconds, live in 28 plus states. Use the promo code today, Locked On NHL, and you will get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. We are back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. And please subscribe to our terrific YouTube channel produced by one and only Mr. Chris Golick. That is Locked On Golden Knights. You know what? I was really more disappointed that the Kraken didn't bring it last night rather than VGK, winning the game and pretty much controlling it. Not a lot of skirmishes, a nasty, dirty hit by Howden. Not a lot, really.
Not a big response after that. The interesting thing last night, I put these up on my Twitter. So where the road team pulls in, it's kind of behind T-Mobile on the section that faces like Tropicana back there. But you can still see the front of Toshiba Plaza. So the bus pulls in, right? And, coaches, whoever's on that bus, some players, they're watching all this. They're watching the players come in. They're watching the carpet. Some might have seen the Stanley Cup, depending on where they were, as Mark Stone and Ivan Barbashev. They did 2 runs with the Stanley Cup down the gold carpet yesterday. So the other thing that was funny, Chris Tanev and a couple other players were actually walking just on the other side from where I was standing, right past everything. So they walked by the entire gold carpets, watching the players, watching the cup and all that. And just, you wonder if a game like that, or if seeing something like that gives you the motivation. I mean, they just walked through. No one recognized them. No one knew who they were. I spotted them from, about 20 feet away. And you just wonder what that feeling is like. Hey, look what's happening here. It'd be cool if we got a chance to do this. And, Seattle, honestly, they were good for 5 minutes. They were really good for 5 minutes, and they had some pushes, but they
petered
overall,
out.
Yeah. I mean, Seattle looked like the team who had gone to the Raider game last night. They looked like the team that had the ring ceremony. Team. They looked, hey, Vegas flu. Here we go. Vegas flu.
For sure.
It's back, alive and well.
So Chris, you didn't get a chance perhaps to see this, but Cassidy mic'd up last night on the television side. And at one point, I think in period number 2, Cassidy is telling the team to play heavy on the puck, play heavier on the puck. And he's, way to go, boys. And okay, all that. But he really wanted VGK. They were putting bodies in front of the net. He just wanted them to play heavier, I think, in the neutral zone. That was, I think, one of his only knocks on the team last night as he was mic'd up. Overall, a really good night for VGK with net front presence. But what else impressed you about the Cassidy system last night?
Cassidy system, we talked about this since day effing one. There you go, William Karlsson. We talked about since day one of
nice
Cassidy's
suit, by
arrival.
the way, Vegas Bjorn. Nice suit. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, you liked Cowboy Carlson.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. It was funny, but why are they wearing high waters today?
Folks, William,
why does the fit include high waters?
What's a high water?
Oh my goodness, where your pants don't go all the way to your shoes. They're
That's a
like,
style nowadays, Tony. That's a style
I would have been
nowadays.
I would have been in vogue back in the day then, because
Well,
I
that's
had high
fine.
waters. All you never call them high waters. What is wrong with you, Golic? Go ahead.
I'm saying, all right. So since I say day one and Carlson, here goes Tony. And Tony, like he started by giving him a compliment, and that was good. So that was good. Make sure, folks, when you blast Tony for hitting, up Carlson all the time, that was a good one right there. So
But I also took a shot on Twitter X by saying it's a good thing that Eichel scored the empty netter rather than Vegas Bjorn.
But that's not a shot. That's okay. That's polite, Tony, for you. So you get some props for that.
I started
Nice job,
off
Tony.
okay.
You started off okay. So, all right. The Cassidy system, in the opening press conference, it was, playing tight in the neutral zone. It was not allowing the other team to get those stretch passes and entering the Vegas Golden Knights zone in rush situations, in 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, or breakaways. It's the right blend of having one forward pressuring the first defenseman looking for that breakout pass. And then it's not like the Montreal Canadiens, 70s and 80s and early 90s blue line trap or anything like that. But it has some similarities to that as well. Canadians literally would stack all 5 of their players up on the blue line and say, okay, good luck, try and get by us. That's literally how the Canadians made their living for a long time. Cassidy really had the players doing well stopping those passes. And it wasn't just like those passes on the ice. I mean, Mark Stone, Jonathan Marchessault, they're batting pucks out of midair and getting them deep for players to have breakaways. There was one moment, unfortunately, I think Stevenson or Barbashev was a little flat-footed in the first period. It's not a knock on them, just it happened so quick where the pass was just plucked out of midair, fired up to Stevenson, who was trying to get a full head of steam. Unfortunately, couldn't get the breakaway going, but it just shows you how quickly, and this is different. This is not the transition game. We'll talk about that in the third segment, but how quickly these opportunities can turn from simply slowing down a pass between the blue lines and springing a breakaway.
Okay, so no one, when you were a kid and your pants didn't fit, no one asked you, where's the flood? They never used that line? Seriously.
I've
With
heard
the high
stuff
waters?
like that. I've never heard. I've heard the flood. I've never attributed that to high waters, though. Never knew it.
I don't know why they call them high waters, but we were
bell
little.
bottoms.
We were off in Jersey. We were off in New Jersey, man, in school.
When are bell bottoms coming back? I feel like that's next, right? I don't know.
Yeah, they'll be back again. Well, I think women wear them, but the guys haven't been wearing them. So
give it 10.
Okay, last night, this was a pretty cool moment, even though Leah Hextall, the questions.
She was actually really nice. We were all gabbing with her and on the carpet. She was very pleasant to talk to last night.
Okay, Leah Hextall. She asked Cassidy what he thought about the cup banner, and he just lit up and he said, it's a beauty. We would like to add another. We would like to have another one of those up there. He was in rare form last night, and of course, he knew he was being mic'd up. He had to be very pleased with the performance of the team.
Yeah, I mean, Cassidy, again, I asked him about it this past Friday, how he personally is balancing enjoying all these moments, watching the players, parade around town one more time while getting the team ready. And Cassidy he gave really the best answer that you possibly could. Stay in the moment. When you're at the dinner, enjoy that. When you're at the Raider game, enjoy that. On the ice, when the banner goes up, fully immerse yourself inside of that moment. Obviously, once the game starts, you have to transition that. But whatever the message was, whatever the behind closed doors discussions were, obviously they worked, because honestly, the Golden Knights, like, the moment was not too big for them. And I didn't know if it would be or not. I knew they could handle the moment. They won a Stanley Cup. They can handle the most pressure of moments, especially the Edmonton series and the Dallas series when, things got turned up a little bit. But you would wonder if the fatigue would set in and lead to some poor decisions, some poor habits as the game progressed. And no, I mean, the Golden Knights, I think, to put it in the easiest form, they outclassed the Seattle Kraken in a game where really I don't think it even would have taken Seattle's best shot to win that game. Seattle, they like I've said 3 times now, they had a good 5 minutes to open the game. It went exactly the way I thought, and me and Carp were talking about it. We felt Seattle was the better betting angle last night for the return and everything. And I said, well, maybe Kraken first period is probably a good bet. And then we thought the over would be a good bet, and a good thing none of us had any money on that game. We'd be broke and we'd be taking the bus home. It was that bad. So credit the Golden Knights for understanding the moment. And I think back to your comments about Cassidy, I really think this shows Cassidy's ability to allow the team to enjoy the moment. He's not beating them up in the locker room verbally, guys. He's not, just yelling and shouting. I think there's that relationship where Cassidy trusts the players. He's mentioned many times in press conferences about trusting the players. He has that trust in the players to tell them, guys, enjoy it, embrace it. Don't be afraid to think about winning another Stanley Cup because, well, Cassidy said it again. That's something else that Cassidy said to me on Friday. It's okay to talk about winning another Stanley Cup. So everyone's on the same page. The mental side of the game, making sure everyone is fully embracing their role, accepting the challenge. And now we're going to see as injuries are piling up, folks. Yes, they're happening. I don't know who wants to acknowledge that, but now Will Carrier, who's had injury trouble throughout his career, unfortunately didn't get out of the second period of last night's game. He joins the list of Zach Whitecloud, Alec Martinez, and William Karlsson is just a few days back from his injury. So this is going to be something to watch this season, fans. This is going to be something to watch.
The first 2 goals were scored by Stevenson and Marchessault, and somebody took a nice run at me, and well-deserved, I think, at that, where we have Karlsson and we have Eichel with the A's on their jerseys. And I suggested that both Stevenson and Marchessault have E's for expiring contracts on their jerseys.
I still wonder how that's going to play out. Like, that's something else that no one wants to talk about.
The story within the story no one wants to discuss, right?
No one wants to. I did discuss it. I pissed off half the fan base. Well, 3/4 of the fan base.
No, I'm the one that ticks
off.
I
had a good summer, Tony. I had a good summer.
Coming up next, VGK's transition game was working last night. We'll tell you all about it next when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. We could take down Sleeper now. Everyone should be empowered. We're just having fun here. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase Case. I ordered my very own. It's terrific. I have it along with its 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use, and it gives you peace of mind so that you're not just hoping to have access to medication in the case of an emergency. The Jase Case is very small, it's compact, but I've got all these antibiotics. It tells you about how to utilize them. It's really cool and very much needed. It's necessary. Jase Medical, make sure that you have that medication in hand at all times. Jase Medical's simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. That's our message today. Save more than $360. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using the code Locked On at checkout at jasemedical.com. That's JASE Medical.com. Use the promo code Locked On. We are back. Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Highwater Chris Golick. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And don't forget on Fridays, WTF, What the Friday, where you could take some really good runs at us. And they often do. And we're in season now. And a lot of the fans are in season form. It was sad last night seeing Riley Smith speaking with Emily Kaplan. Well, not that he was speaking with Emily Kaplan, but he was just there, during the game where between periods they had a discussion. Former Golden Knight looked really sad. He had FOMO last night. He was sad. He wanted to be here. I know. That's the game. It's the business.
The Golden Knights have scheduled the opener against Pittsburgh. That would have been nice.
That would have been really
not
cool,
the Golden
right?
Knights, the NHL, but,
Of course. Well, no, the Golden Knights. You're right. It's rigged. So Chris, transition game was cooking last night. Played very well. I think the most impressive point the most impressive sequence, if you will, was evident on that stretch pass out of the zone, McNabb to Barbashev, who had the finish, tape to tape, stick to stick, whatever you want to say, and of course Barbashev with the finish.
Yeah, that was definitely real good, heads up play by McNabb spotting Barbashev. And like I said, I think in the first segment, it wasn't the only time they had that type of pass working. So you look back at the first goal, right? Howden, great pass from Stevenson and Stone, but it started in the defensive zone. That's what you don't see on the replay. They just show, the tic-tac-toe portion at the end on the offensive side of the blue line, but you don't see that on the other side of the blue line. So it was just one moment, but Seattle was just giving Vegas that first pass. And you hear this a lot from scouts and stuff like that. A good defenseman, if they can make a good breakout pass, if their first pass is going to be really good, that's how you stick in the NHL for a long time. And Alec Martinez is one of the best probably on the Golden Knights of doing that, and he's going to be out for some time. So I did ask Cassidy about how quickly the team was getting up the ice, about the rushes, and how it was leading to scoring opportunities. And Cassidy started by mentioning the gaps are good and tights. Gaps basically mean when the players are closing in on the offensive players coming in the zone and challenging that first pass. And then they just so quickly, this was something really big in season one's team. It was the forecheck and how fast they had the ability to get the puck up ice.
Yeah,
And this is something you're going to see in season 6 right now as well. And then Cassidy went on to say this was a staple of the D last year. They're at their best when the guys get going and they are disrupting the entry and quickly looking up the ice. It's almost like football, Tony, right? It's like you have one player doing the go route, you got the button hook in the middle, and then you got someone doing the mid, being like a mid option, like around the blue line to get that pass. And the Golden Knights, they were hitting their first option. They didn't have to check down. There was no check down Charlie's happening last night. No check down Garoppolo's happening last night.
Oof.
There you go. I think his
can't throw
highest
the
air
ball.
yard was 21 yards.
Yeah,
on
every
Monday.
pass is a check down pass.
Yeah.
His
So
arm, I told you,
Garoppolo would not be a good defenseman on the Golden
he's got
Knights.
a rag arm. It's like worse. Like when you watch him in person, it's even worse. I'm like, he can't. He's like hoisting it there, shot putting it. In any event,
here really fast football reference. I want to credit Steve Marsh. I know Steve watches the show too. Steve
what up,
Marsh
Steve?
called Marchessault's goal the equivalent of a pick six to hockey.
Nice.
I thought that was a great. I thought that was a
good
great
analogy.
reference. So Steve, shout out for that one. That was good, man.
Shout out, bro. And I like the way VGK cleared the puck. To your point, on the penalty kill. Remember VGK fiddle-faddling around, and
They got that thing out.
very quickly they got rid of it. And that's what helped them to kill off the 5-minute major on Howden. I thought that they did a terrific job in clearing the zone and doing it so quickly, man. I thought that was terrific. Later this week, we've got in this rig schedule, VGK against the Sharks coming up tomorrow. We'll preview that on tomorrow's show. And then the Ducks, maybe come tomorrow, I'll be back with that team. Who knows? I don't know. By then, something's got to give with that poor fella. Awesome. And, of course, much, much more. Let's put a wrap on today's show. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We appreciate you tuning in. Find us on the YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. We'll see you tomorrow right here and the same place and same time. Not same time, but we'll be back tomorrow.
Excellent close, Tony. Excellent close.